breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, with the four-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football.
Yes. Here we go.
What a tune, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Four Leaf Clover podcast. We have got a stacked show for you this evening. Lots happening at Celtic Football Club this week. And first of all, we just want to say thank you to everybody who joined us on our debut show last Wednesday. Over 3,000 views on that podcast already, Andy. Incredible, mate. Incredible.
Amazing for a first real broadcast for us just starting out, you know. So again, thanks very much for everybody that's supporting us with giving us the views and the subscriptions and all that. We very, very much appreciate it, and continue to do so as well, because we've got a lot of good, exciting stuff coming up soon. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, massive plans. And our Willie Miller there from across the sea. Our Paddy, how are you getting on, sir? Some incredible views and some incredible feedback we've had in the last week, eh?
Good, been absolutely amazing. Yeah, just thanks to everybody who has subscribed. Keep on liking, keep on sharing. Tell your friends, tell your family. Keep spreading the word. It's just been an amazing first 7 days. So
brilliant, absolutely brilliant, Paddy. And our Alec Baldwin down there in the bottom left-hand side there, our Jerry. He's been loving life last week. He's been talking about Adrusson signing autographs. And absolutely loving life. How are you feeling, Jerry? Did you enjoy your first show last week?
It was good. Good to make my debut. Brilliant. But I've laughing at all the names I've been called since then. It's getting better every week, isn't it? You know what I mean? I used to be a young Robbie Keane. Now I'm Alec Baldwin, Joey Barton, you name it.
Good man. You need to start a lookalike agency up, Jerry. That's the next business for you, mate. Next business. So one of the things we like to do at the Four Leaf Clover podcast is lots of preparation. So I live my life by the 7 Ps. Prior preparation prevents a piss poor performance. So last night I prepped the whole podcast, didn't I, Andy? We were on the chat and stuff, and it's all been ripped up and changed because everything has happened today at Celtic, Andy. We've been linked with every man and his dog, and I even woke up for an old man's pee this afternoon and seen Kyogo was linked with Man City. I thought, Jesus, this is some dream I'm having today.
It's madness, isn't it? This is a windy for you. This is a madness that comes for it, you know, and especially towards the end of it as well. It's like mad rush season. It puts the shitters up with you, mate, because, you know, we're kind of almost resigned to losing Matt O'Reilly as much as we don't want him to go, that we know it's probable it's going to happen. But then, you know, you're getting Leicester linked with Hatate again. I know he was kind of earlier on in the transfer window, and then out the blue, Kyogo, Man City. That's a strange one for me. I don't know whether to believe it or not, but I think the sources are pretty solid, you know. So I think there's something in it. But for us to lose 3 players at this point in the transfer window, when we haven't exactly been very quick at recruiting players, try to replenish the players if they go, I don't put my 100% trust in the board that they would be able to do that, mate. So it's really quite feeling really positive. We had a positive start of the season with the team playing really well and looking forward to the Champions League draw and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you start getting wee dampeners, don't you? And it's like, don't do it to me.
Aye. It's definitely one of them. And gentlemen, we will get into it. So, like I said, we've got a stacked show tonight. We're going to talk about Celtic's 3-1 victory there at the weekend against Hibs. We're going to touch on Neil Lennon, who has unfortunately lost his job. We'll have a quick chat about that. And then as I just had a brief chat with Andy there, we're going to go into transfers, which will be the bulk of the show, I think. Lots been happening today. And then we're going to talk about the future plans for the podcast. We've been working very hard behind the scenes to make this an unbelievable podcast for you. And we're going to talk about that as well. We've got some amazing plans coming up. So we'll share them with you as well. And then we'll finish off with St Mirren versus Celtic, which is our next game on Sunday. So, Andy, let's have a quick chat about the game at the weekend. Me and yourself, we jumped on for the post-match show. And Celtic, very, very comfortable afternoon against Hibernian. Dyson Maeda came in for the injured Kyogo, started up front. Listen, see for me, mate, he looks brilliant up front, and I can see why Japan play him up there. 5 goals in 2 games, Brendan Rodgers was saying. And also Nicholas Kuhn, who had another brilliant game for us. Hibs scored a cracking goal, to be honest. Schmeichel, no chance with that one. Again, mate, did you miss anything? Is there anything that's crossed your mind since the post-match that you can think of? And just how did you think the boys fared on Sunday, pal?
I mean, I have watched back the highlights again, and I've not really changed my opinion from what I said in the post-match, mate. I thought we played fantastic football, as per usual. It seems to be the thing this season. With, as I said in the post-match, pre-season was fantastic, some really good football, and we've continued on into the domestic scene. Maybe tailed off in the second half a wee bit, but intensity like that is very difficult to maintain for the 90 minutes, so that I think they're going to drop off a wee bit. You can't do that in every game. And let's be honest, well, what I thought the game was finished anyway. I really didn't see Clover scored a brilliant goal, Hibs. I don't think they really deserved anything out it, if I'm honest with you. I don't think they're a very good team. And Maeda again, he just never disappoints, does he? He's Mr. Reliable. He's going to work, and just continue to work and press players, and his industry is just unbelievable. But he comes up with the goals as well. So, as you said, you can see why Japan, they play him as a striker. We've never really done it unless we've had to.
Yeah.
Somebody that would go and take Kyogo's place as a striker, which is weird because Kyogo can't get into Japan's squad. It's all people's opinions, innit? And listen, I've been one that's got on Dyson Maeda's back about his finishing and stuff like that, but he still comes up with the goods, and so maybe unfairly certain things been said about him, so fair play to him. He came in, he done the job, and great to see him with a smile on his face. I know, just that he's one of the guys that everybody just they love him. I think he's a perfect teammate. Do you know what I mean? Because he takes a lot of weight off of the rest of the team. So very happy.
And Jerry, there's another one for you. It's good to see Joey Barton making his presence felt on a Celtic podcast. I always knew you were a good Tim, Joey. Hail, PS, you're bang on about the women commentators. We're not even gone there. We're not even gone there, sir. No. Politics and women's football, we're not getting involved in it. Nope. Paddy, you were at the game, sir. You were at the game with your grandson, so you obviously have a different take from it than myself and Andy. How was the atmosphere at the game? How were the boys looking for where you were sitting? And just give us your overall thoughts on the performance, mate.
Yep, I just thought it was a brilliant performance again, following on from the previous week. Atmosphere in the stadium was electric. More or less a full house. Good crowd through from Edinburgh for Hibs as well. The game itself, I thought we started off like an express train, especially the first 10-15 minutes. Nicholas Kuhn and James Forrest on the wings just seemed to be, you were sort of sitting thinking here, this could be 4 or 5 here if we click here. Again, just we Dyson, like we sit in the Jock Stein. You have to be there in the stadium to see his movement. You don't get the full appreciation of it when you're watching it on the TV. You see the guy's movement when you're in the stadium. It's just where he gets his energy from, I don't know. but his movement, especially early on, caused Hibs all kinds of problems. He was pulling the back four all over the place, and they just didn't know what to do with him. So to get the 2 goals, really for anybody in the stadium, it wasn't a major surprise. Again, the way they were playing, the fullbacks coming up high, Johnson on one side and Taylor on the other, the press right up the field. You know, Hibs were really struggling to get the ball outside of their own penalty area. And to be fair, the only tactic that I could see that Hibs had was getting the big guy Miller up for the long throw. It didn't seem to matter whether it was left side of the pitch, right side of the pitch. That seemed to be the guy has some throw on him, right enough, but that seemed to be their only tactic. The only disappointing thing about it was I thought big Carter Vickers, it was a daft challenge that gave away the free kick. When I was at the game, I initially thought it was a bit harsh, but I've watched it back again, and I mean, he just barges the guy over, and he's facing the wrong way. Just give them an opportunity to lump the ball into the box, and then I don't think they defended it particularly well, but cracking header from the guy. So I think that sort of unsettled us up until the half time. But then again, second half, we just started again where we left off, and again it was Maida and Kuhn, their pressing that led to the 3rd goal, chasing down the defender, making him turn and pass the ball, which he gave a sort of a dodgy pass back to the goalkeeper, and Kuhn sort of closed him down and scored. And I say once we got our composure again, that sort of killed the tie. And then I felt the changes that we made. Big Ida got a wonderful reception coming back on. It was the place was just rocking whenever he came on. And I thought we Yang and Bernardo looked pretty good. Give us a lot of speed and really sort of give him something else to think about. I think Palma looked a wee bit off. You know, I think he's going to need a week or two to come back. So, but in the end, it was comfortable, really comfortable. And if truth be told, even though we were tailing off, we probably could have had another couple of goals. And for me, Maida, Kuhn, and McGregor were the outstanding. They were the 3 top men for me.
Yeah, I said that to Andy after the game, mate. What we do in the post-match show is we pick our man of the match, and there could have been 4 or 5, and even Andy was struggling to pick the man of the match. It could have been anybody. I thought Hattati had a sensational game as well. Put a lovely couple of cracking balls in for the right-hand side. And for me, Jerry, I mean, you're one of the best strikers I've ever played with, so you clearly know what you're on about when it comes to strikers. Kyogo was injured, mate, and Maida came in. How did you think the wee man done as a replacement? And one of the other things that we've not spoke about yet is the James Forrest incident. I think for me and Andy, we thought it was a penalty kick. Looking back, he get fouled twice in the box and get given as a corner by the referee and by VAR. For me, it was a penalty kick. Give your thoughts on that, Jerry. And Maida, how did they get on, mate? Go for it.
Well, the one with Maida comes in there and does well. The thing is, when he does well, to me, the board's not going to get a 3rd striker in then, and he's doing well. You can use that as a good excuse to say, well, you've got a 3rd striker here. No?
Yeah.
And if the penalties it's a funny one, the penalty. You've seen them given, you've seen them no. So it's a bit for me, it's 50-50. I don't know. But first half, Celtic were excellent again. The second half, the tempo and the speed we're playing at, they were not as good the second half because you can't keep that going. Work after the ball, the work on the ball. The fitness levels drop a wee bit. Yeah. I mean, they're running about there. They're a joy to watch, you know, Celtic. They're a joy to watch. And if you see the players and all, the players look like they enjoyed it well. I know Mida got the 1st goal. There's about 8 players there running for everywhere to go and celebrate with the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the team's playing well. So I think everything's good, isn't it? About the club, everything about it.
It is, mate, and it's going to be disappointing to see that getting broken up if Matt O'Reilly does go, and even Kyogo and a few others, because they look slick, they look brilliant at the minute, and to see that getting broken up would be very, very disappointing. So, last thing I just want to ask you, Jerry, at the minute is that the original Bumblebee tap? Is it?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah.
You model it and stand up, gives a wee shot at it. Look at that.
There we go. There.
Oh,
there we go. I was that's how I was on Sunday. I was up in the cupboard getting all my old taps out. That's how I was doing.
You all right, Jerry? Aye, it's still all right. Plenty of room in that. Aye.
No, I wouldn't give it on. I wouldn't give it on.
I thought it was a woman's tat, to be honest.
It's actually got the canny on the back here, look.
Aye.
Oh,
Paolo.
we said no politics, leave Paolo.
I know.
So, gentlemen, a wee bit of news coming out this week as well. Celtic apparently have earned the title of the most well-run club in Britain. So, the Fair Game Index have declared that Celtic have earned the title of the most well-run club after carrying out a comparison of areas including fan and community engagement, equality and ethical standards, and financial sustainability. Tottenham Hotspur rank in second, while Hearts sit in third spot. So that's a wee bit of good news as well. But it does have its downsides, Andy, doesn't it? It's, we could be the best well-run club in Scotland or in Britain or whatever. But we're now going to get on to transfers, mate. We've had a wee chat in the green room before we came on. We personally think that we are in a worse position with 10 days to go in the transfer window than we were last season. The two sort of major signings that we've made, Bernardo and Ida, you could class as last season signings. We've not had these three quality signings yet. We've had a like-for-like with Joe Hart, with Schmeichel, and the young boy in goals as well, who's replaced Siegrist. But for you, mate, are you starting to shite yourself a wee bit? You know, as the window is creaking, it's getting closed very, very shortly. Give me your overall thoughts on if Matt O'Reilly leaves, if Kyogo, talk of him leaving. Mate, we could be up shit creek without a paddle in the next few days if these transfers go through. It's already been linked with all the players in the world, but we need to get bodies in.
Exactly, mate. I mean, this season could go for being very positive outlook to the start of the season, looking forward to things, to an absolute disaster, because at the end of the day, we're putting our faith in the board, and we don't actually know who it is. It's we've no recruitment team, as far as I'm aware. Apparently, I've heard that that's going to be one of our priorities, is to get the recruitment sorted, which should have been done donks ago. Talking about that near the end of a window is just no good to MD. And the fact that we could lose three influential players out of this team, mate. And if that was to happen, it would happen within the next couple of days, I would imagine. Seriously. So then you're down to what, 7 days? You're doing about 7 days to get three players. Three plus. It's just three to get back to where you were. And there's no guarantees that they're going to be up to standards that we're used to with Hatate and Kyogo and O'Reilly. So it is concerning, because I've not got a great deal of faith in the board. I don't think they've showed us anything magical. People keep going on about the amount of money we've got in the bank. That's all well and good, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's good business. Of course, it's good business. But I've said it before in the past. What is your business? Your business is football. You know, so unless you look after that department, your business ain't going to be doing very well for very long unless you continue to put that product out on the parks, and that means replenishing the players you've already got and adding to that quality, which we haven't done. We've regressed in that department if we lose these players. In fact, I think we already have, to be honest with you. We really need to up the quality and get the horns in the pockets and spend this money. It's just, I'm not saying spend a whole lot, but show ambition, Celtic. You know, I was going to say we're reactive, but we're not even that. You know, we should be proactive. We should be one step ahead of just thinking, now, you know, bids are going to come in for O'Reilly, so be that one step ahead. Have somebody in the door. It's happened in the past with Juranovic and AJ. You know, AJ was in the door before Juranovic went. That's the kind of system you want to get to. No ruffling about at the end of the transfer window, just picking up whoever you can gather, and you've had months and months to plan ahead. It's poor, mate.
Aye, Paddy, it's starting to get to squeaky bum time. You know, we could be losing Matt O'Reilly. potentially Kyogo, Hatate, and I know we're stockpiling the cash and we're a well-run club and all the rest of it, but as fans, we want to see that money being spent. Now, we've been linked with some players today that we'll speak about once we'll finish with Jerry as well. But for you, the Celtic need to get the finger out here, mate, and get these players in. Do you agree with Andy, or are you quite calm with sort of 10 days to go in the window?
Do you know what, Scott? It's a wee bit of both. At the end of the day, as we sort of talked about last week, I would like to hope that Celtic are shopping in a completely different market certainly from the likes of our friends across the city. And sometimes those players, you know, they have their agents basically wait until the last minute to see what's the best offer they can get. So I still would be hopeful that we're able to do something there. The only thing that worries me, I'm sure, like the rest of you, I keep a wee cursory eye on some of the other sites just to see what the opposition are saying, and it's gathering pace. They seem to think that they're taking a bit of confidence from the fact that they've had a rubbish start to the season, but they're taking a wee bit of comfort from the fact that they're basically saying that they know that our board won't push the boat out. They're saying that we're going to lose O'Reilly, we're going to lose Hatate, we're going to lose Kyogo, and they probably won't be replaced with like for like. So it's a bit worrying when you hear that. The thing that perturbs me is, you know, Brendan's been saying this. I said this now. This is his third transfer window, and he's been saying this since he came back in the door. He's been talking about the quality that he needs. He's been talking about the fact that we need to be braver and bolder. He even said the other day about, yep, you can sign 3 or 4 players at 2 million and then sell them for 15, but you can also sign a guy for 10 or 12 and sell him for 40.
Yeah,
it's the same principle. So, as far as I'm concerned, the board need to definitely be a bit braver and a bit bolder. We're not asking them to break the bank, you know, but I think we can all be in agreement that, you know, assume the best case scenario and we don't lose O'Reilly or we don't lose those players. We may lose Matt, but assume that we keep Matt O'Reilly. You know, I don't think Celtic, you know, if Celtic were to spend about 15, 20 million, you know, I think that puts us on a completely different level to anybody else. And I don't think that's unreasonable. Now, that's 20 million would probably get you three sort of fairly top quality players.
Yeah.
And I understand there's difficulties of getting players to come to Scotland and all that there, but you know, there's a Champions League qualification to look forward to. You're going to be winning trophies, you're going to be winning medals, you're going to be playing to 60,000 people every other week. We should be a big sell. So there's something not right somewhere, and whether it's our marketing or our recruitment or a mix of all. But there is absolutely no doubt that we shouldn't be sitting here at this stage of the window still trying to, as I said to you before in the green room, there's not one outfield player been signed. Not one outfield player has been signed since the window opened. And that for a club of Celtic size who have Champions League football and hopefully trophies to win this season, that's just unbelievable. So yeah. The board need to basically pull the finger out. They need to back Brendan. As I said last week, we've got an elite Premiership quality manager. There's no doubt about that. Everybody knows that. And it's time that they gave him the players to allow him to build a team that will continue our dominance in Scotland and see us make a wee bit of progress in Europe.
Aye, bang on. So that comment there, Jerry, Rodgers doesn't look worried, so I'm not worried. Are you worried?
Wee bit. It started, the window started at the summer there, the window opened, you were buzzing. We're going to get this new left back, we're going to get this player, that player, we're linked to that player. Now it's getting to the stage, you just want the window to shut, so then your good players go. It's getting to that stage. I mean, I think O'Reilly will look certainty. I can go with that. When you start talking about Kyogo, Tate, CCV and that, they've got to stay. Rodgers has surely got to say in that matter a bit for these guys to stay. Surely one's enough. If that's the way the board, as he says, the board are taking money for strips, Champions League tickets. There's 47,000 turned up there on Sunday. And that's money they've bought there again. We've got the Champions League coming up. And the transport, the trains are all off. Half of the trains don't. There's still been 47,000 in that stadium on Sunday. And by the way, talking about Sundays, the Rangers game, the St Mirren game, the Rangers game will be 6 Sundays in a row. So they don't even get a Saturday, the fans. still turning up there. So the board for me, I'm just hoping it's just a highlight. I'm not wanting a highlight to go, obviously, but if it's just a one, fine. But surely no Kyogo and that. It can't be, Scott. It can't be.
Aye. We cannot afford to lose the likes of Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo and Hatate at this point in the season, Andy. For sure that cannot happen, man. We're never going to get these boys replaced in the next sort of week or so. But some of the players that we have been linked with, one's come out the blue again today. A boy from Los Angeles Football Club, the Polish player, Mateusz Boguts, his name is. Now, I had a quick 15-minute look at him on YouTube, Andy, and I sent you a couple of things. I've put it on my Twitter page as well if people want to see a bit about this boy. Now, everybody looks good on Twitter. Looks good on YouTube, sorry, Andy. Even us four handsome gentlemen. But
that's debatable, mate. Maybe you do.
But aye, he's one of the players we've been linked with. The Arne Engels boy, the Belgian player, the young boy that's playing in the Bundesliga. Jota has been linked again to come back to Celtic. Just looking at these players that have been linked with us, mate, is there any of them that sort of stand out for you? And looking at the transfers out, who can you see leaving and who can you see staying?
Well, firstly, you're talking about a Polish boy. I honestly didn't know anything about him till you told us about it. I heard somebody else say, I think it was on Axon the day they were talking about him. I watched a wee bit of that today. But honestly, I didn't know much about him. But he's 22, Polish under-21 international. Plays at LAFC. And I think you were talking about they're talking about bumping him up into the first team, national team. So full international, it looks like he's 5'9" or something, not at all. He's an attacking midfielder. But it looks, for what of the clips I've seen, and as you said, YouTube can make them look good, I think, given the certain clips that are shown, you know. But for what I've seen, I think he looks a really good player, to be quite honest with you, and a good age as well. So that's quite interesting there. Bodie's going out. I think we all know the obvious ones. Bodie's going out with Celtic. I'm more concerned about Bodie's coming in. I think we need to up the game when it comes to that, because it is quite concerning. But I don't know how who's actually broke a story about the Polish boy, you know that? Is it MD kind of that you would believe?
I'm not sure where it's came from, mate, but it's just came out the blue of the day. Like I said, I woke up literally about an hour before the pod, mate, and done a wee bit of research and seen the Kyogo one. I thought somebody was pulling my pisser, to be honest with you, when I seen that. And then the Polish lad Engels were still linked with, and Jota again's come out the blue. But some of the outgoings, let's talk about the outgoings, Andy, quickly. Lager Bielka, he's one as well who's been linked to move to Robin van Persie's club, I believe. I seen this one earlier. The defender, 24, is subject of strong interest from the Dutch outfit Heerenveen. And Belgian side Mechelen are also interested, but Heerenveen are leading the race to sign the centre-back. Heerenveen is leading the race, and that would see Lager Bielka playing under Robin van Persie. So there's talk of him leaving, there's talk of Rocky going out on loan. I think Brendan Rodgers would rather see him go on loan rather than a permanent for him to go. I think Stephen Welsh will stick around, but we certainly need a left back still and a left centre back, Andy. So that's went very quiet for me. I think the boy for Liverpool, Beck, is leading the race to fill that jersey. But the left centre half, for me, Liam Scales isn't the man to move forward with, especially in the Champions League. I think he's been found out at a sort of higher level than the SPFL. So just have a brief chat about those players there, Andy, as well, that I've just mentioned. Outgoings, again, incomings. How do you see it all happening, mate, and unfolding over the next week or so?
So Lager Bielka, is that a permanent deal that they're coming in to take him?
Yeah.
Right. We spent a lot of money on him. We also spent a lot of money on Big Rocky as well. You could see that as money down the pan, I suppose, if you're letting them just walk out the door. I don't know how much the fees they're talking about, but are we actually going to get our money back for these players? No, 2 seconds. My lights just went out. And you know, Scotty too, is where Johan Mjalby night, and he spoke about Lagerbielke, and he said that, you know, he's got nowhere, he shouldn't be anywhere near Celtic Park. He's simply no ready ability wise at this point. So he was really surprised with that. There's obviously no secret. Everybody that was there that night, and it's been spoken about in other pods, that's what he said, and that was his opinion on it. And I'd like to kind of trust his judgment on players. You know, the big man knows what Celtic's about. Cracking defender himself. So it doesn't look as if he's going to get a chance at Celtic. I just don't think he's fancied. So I was going to suggest maybe players that actually be put out on loan. And as far as I'm aware, I'm sure his old gaffer is the manager at Aberdeen now. So
Yeah.
maybe that would have been a good shout to fire him up there on loan, you know, where he's close to home. You can keep an eye on him. And as we keep saying, he's got to play against your opposition, but no you. Or just bite the bullet and get rid of him, you know. And if there's no future for these players, then just get rid of them and try and get other bodies in. Try and do it right this time. Understand that when you go to sign a player, no, everybody's going to be a success. We get that, but we really need to improve because we have wasted a lot of money on bringing in talent that are supposed talent, a lot of money. And we keep going on about spending money, but, you know, it's not as if we haven't spent money. They just haven't been very successful. So I see it as money wasted. We really need to up our game there and make sure that we're doing it right and bringing these players in.
Yeah, Paddy, we, you know, as much as we sort of bitch and moan, I would say, as Celtic fans about getting players in, you know, we just want the best team on the pitch, you know, as fans. That's all we want to see. There is a lot of people that we need to get shot of. There's a lot of outgoings at Celtic. We've got Kobayashi. We've got Stephen Welsh, who's no good enough for me either, but he's Scottish, so we're going to keep him for the Champions League sort of select. We've got Naroki, we've got Lagerbielke. James McCarthy apparently has done a midnight flit and he's been punted out finally out the door, but that's been kept very quiet. There's lots of players that Celtic need to get rid of. So give me your thoughts on the ones there that I just mentioned first, Paddy, and then we will come back to you and we'll have a chat about incomings. For
me, Scotty, first and foremost, I'm not one for defending the board by any manner of means, but we are a football club, but we're also a business. And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Brendan has been told, especially with the centre half position, you need to get some guys out. How many centre halves are you going to bring in? You know, he's probably been told you need to move some guys out. We paid, not only are we paying big money for them in transfer fees, we're also paying big money in wages. So you've got the likes of Welsh, you've got Lagerbielke, you've got Kobayashi, you've got Nawrocki. For me, I don't think personally any of those guys. Nawrocki probably would probably be the best of them, but the guy just can't stay fit. The guy just can't stay fit. And as I say, I'm pretty sure that Brendan has probably been told you need to shift people out. It's as simple as that. We're not going to start spending 5 million, 6 million and bring another centre half in to be in the same situation again at Christmas time. So I can see 100% where the club are coming from. They're dealing with the business side of it. When you think of the wages that are going out on those 4 or 5 players, and what are we getting in return for that? So he probably has been told you need to. So that's why you're seeing the stories coming out about Lagerbielke and Kobayashi, and I think Welsh, they'll keep Welsh because they need so many young Scottish players for the Scottish contingent. You have to have so many homegrown players in your squad. But certainly for me, I don't think Lagerbielke ever looked. I don't think he ever looked good enough. Kobayashi for me, not in a million years is that guy a centre half. Not in a million. From the day I saw him for the first time, you know, the guy just isn't simply up to the physical side of playing in Scotland as a centre half. You know, he just seems to be too nice and too, you know, he doesn't seem to be prepared to put his head in where it hurts. I didn't think he was great at attacking the ball and stuff like that, you know. So those guys are not good enough. They're surplus to requirements. So we either need to get them off the wage bill and get other players in. But I'm pretty sure that's what Brendan has been told. The other one for me that sticks out like a sore thumb is Mikey Johnson. You know, I mean, what is going on there? The fact, no harm to him, the fact that he's still having anything to do with us in terms of being in the squad or around the squad, for me, that's that just says it all. And I think sometimes when Brendan maybe sends him on as a sub, is that him maybe sending a wee message to the board to say, look what I'm down to here. You know what I mean? So again, there's at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 players that we definitely need to sort out what's happening. We need to either get somewhere else for them to play, or get somebody to take them off our hands. But again, similar to what's going on across the city, these players are on big money, and they're not going to walk away from that for nothing. But that's how I look at it. I just look at it that he has probably been told, especially where the defensive is, you need to shed a few players, because we can't keep sending centre halves while we've still got 4 or 5 centre halves in the building and you're not playing them. So that's how I see it.
Jerry, I'll come to you about that actually, and then we'll go back to Paddy. For me, Paddy's spot on there. We've got a plethora of centre halves there sitting, taking wages in, big money, big signings, 4 million plus. They 2 boys, Naroki and Lagerbielka. So there's £9 million down the Swanee. With these 2 boys who can't even get a sniff. Stephen Welsh is getting a game before them. Christ, it's that bad. So, I mean, are you with Paddy? We need to get shot of these players first. Or are you with Andy? We should be thinking ahead, getting the decent centre half in first, and then getting shot of the players. Where are you sitting on that one, mate?
I suppose you've got to get something in before you get rid of them. But as Andy says, Lagerbeck boy, that's his Aberdeen. The Aberdeen manager's his old manager. How no a season up there on loan? Get him up there. Let's see where he's going. If we sent Ajar out to Kilmarnock after a couple of years or a year, he come back a cracking player. Yeah. So I think it's just a bit like Kuhn. We all judged Kuhn after a few games. Was he good enough? This and that. We're quite quick to judge. And I think he's come on to a great game now. A wee bit of patience. And I'm just thinking, so we're going with the Polish centre half and Lagerbeck. So how are they bad players? Are they bad in training? I'm no one for picking a team on training, Scott. It's what you do. It's what you do on a Saturday. So for me, they've not had 6, 7 games to turn in and make a judgment. So to me, it's a strange one. Sure, I can't see how you can pick a player because he's done well with training on Friday. He starts on Saturday. That's not for me, that one. You know yourself, you can be a great trainer, but man. So it's a strange one with they 2 for me. You know what I mean?
Aye. No, you're bang on, Jerry. So
we're in the same position as last week. We talked about getting the left back, and now we're down to 8 days. Is it 8 days now?
Aye, something like that, mate. Aye.
Surely we're not going to be talking next Wednesday with nobody in the door. Surely no. Same matter.
Aye. Next Wednesday's pod is going to be very interesting. We're definitely going to be on a different level from hopefully where we are just now. Paddy, let's come back to yourself, mate. We spoke about sort of outgoings there, but incomings. So Matt O'Reilly, let's say he's gone. It's looking very likely, that we're not going to knock back. If somebody hits the asking price, we're not going to knock it back. And then I think after that, it's down to the player. If the player wants to go, which we don't know, Matt O'Reilly's not come out and said either way what he's wanting to do. Yeah. We all don't want him to go. I'm sure he loves it at Celtic, but listen, he's got a girlfriend and a young family on the way probably, and he needs to think his own future, So if he goes, we wish him all the best. No bad blood for us, he's been a great servant, so on and so forth. But incomings, the Polish lad, Boguts, Engels, the boy that's playing in Germany, the Belgian lad, Jota coming back. Apparently as well, that's one. So there's been a few players that have been linked coming in. If Matt O'Reilly goes, who would you like to see come in out of those boys that I've just mentioned? And do you agree with Andy? Do we need to wait for Matt O'Reilly to go before we get these boys in? Why are we not going out and getting them beforehand?
Oh, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's only a matter of time now for Matt. It's only a matter of time. These things all... People seem to think of this, these things are all part of negotiations and stuff. That there already have been negotiations behind the scenes. As far as I hear, the Matty has already agreed personal terms and everything with Brighton. That's all been agreed. They're just waiting on the clubs coming together on the figure. And as soon as that 26 million or whatever it is, as soon as that's hit, Celtic will do business. There's absolutely no doubt about that. That's the market we're in. Unfortunately, we're in that player trading model. You bring in a player, you develop them over a couple of years, and you move them on for big money. The one thing I will say about Matty is exactly what we said last week. From what they're saying, he's been a model professional off the field. He hasn't allowed it to affect his game. He hasn't allowed it to put him off. He's behaving, as Brendan said the other day, the consummate professional. And listen, if he gets a move like that, I don't think after the way he served us over the last couple of years, I don't think any of us can sort of hold that against him. With regards to who comes in, this is the thing. You know, if you're going to talk about numbers, you know, assuming we didn't lose anybody, you know, Brendan's still looking for 3 or 4 players. If we keep Hatate, if we keep Kyogo, if we keep O'Reilly, Brendan has stated that he wants 3 or 4 players. So if we lose O'Reilly, you know, if we lose Matt O'Reilly, which now looks as only going to be a matter of time, we're surely looking at 4, possibly 5 more players to come in. And with 10 days or whatever it is, I think it's the 31st, it closes, 31st of August. So there's a lot of work to be done there. The one thing I will say, the Polish guy, the clips I've seen, as Andy said, you know, I look good on YouTube, you know what I mean? So I would just caution about that. Your wee guy Ryan Gold that played for Dundee United, and he's in Lewis Morgan's another one. Apparently, they two are absolute standouts in that league. So that's why I would just urge a bit of caution with anybody coming. It's not a great standard of football, you know, to be honest. You know, they look good and all that there, but as I say, Ryan Gold, you know, who used to play, as I say, for Dundee United, you know, those guys have stood out in that league, which Lewis Morgan, who he couldn't get a game for us, you know, and they've gone there and they're real stars in that league. Fair play. Alistair Johnson came from a similar standard, so, you know, that sort of balances it up. But again, as I say, there's been 1 or 2. The guy that you talked about there, the guy Engels, and the other guy is a guy called Alvin Sanchez, who I saw today. I think he plays in Switzerland, and I watched a few clips of him, and he seems to have a really good left-footed player. So again, you know, but we can't be hanging about. You know, at the end of the day, if the deal's being done behind the scenes with Matt O'Reilly, we need to be proactive here. We need to have players basically lined up, sitting ready to go. So if O'Reilly goes there, we pull the trigger on that deal there for him. You know, surely to God, that has to be their thinking. They're not sitting here with, you know, just over a week or a week and a half to go over the transfer window thinking, right, we're going to lose Matt O'Reilly, we're going to lose Hatate. What are we going to do about that? You know, they need to have been doing their work proactively, and that's where we need to trust them over the next sort of week and a half. So I'm not that confident. I wouldn't say I was confident in any way, shape, or form, but that's not to say that Brendan has said on more than one occasion that there's a lot of good work going on behind the scenes. So all we can do is take them at face value. But I think somebody said on social media today, what kind of world is there that if we lose Hatate, O'Reilly, and Kyogo in the same window and maybe don't bring them in, how's that going to work? You know, we need to be more proactive. And as I said earlier, we need to push the boat out and be braver. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? If we're looking at a player and there's only £1 million of a difference in the asking price, we'll just get it paid then. Get it paid, get the guy in. You know, don't be haggling over pennies. You know, this is the thing, you know, like people are still talking about Adam Ida. We paid too much for Ida at £9 million. I saw the other day where Wolves were demanding 17 million for Fabio Silva. So that should put into context how much we paid for Adam. We've got Adam Ida for 9 million, and they're looking 17 million for Fabio Silva, and we all saw what he was like last year, with no disrespect to any of them. So it's definitely time. They need to be doing their work. We just need to hope that they've been diligent behind the scenes and they've been prepared for these eventualities. Again, the other one that came out today, the one about CCV is just unthinkable. It's absolutely unthinkable. We cannot get rid of him. It's as simple as that. He's the linchpin of the back four. There's absolutely no question about that. What I said earlier is Jota. The will say about Jota, I'm not a big fan of players going back again, but I did say to you earlier on that I would take Jota back in a heartbeat. Obviously, we're not going to be able to buy the player, but you know, if something can be worked out in terms of his wages, and people say he's on that ridiculous money, I can tell you now, I know for a fact that Kieran Tierney, when he left Arsenal to go to Real Sociedad, Arsenal picked up 100% of Tierney's wages. Real Sociedad had nothing. They didn't have to contribute anything. All Arsenal wanted them to do was give him the platform and give him the game time. So it can be done. Arsenal picked up 100% of Tierney's wages. Real Sociedad didn't pay anything at all. That's fact. So that's proof that it can be done. It might be a lot of money, but I'm sure they could come to some agreement. And as I say, I would take Jota back tomorrow.
Aye, excellent analysis there, Paddy. Really enjoyed listening to you there, mate. That was brilliant. Jerry, Matt O'Reilly leaves Celtic tonight or tomorrow. We're in a weaker position, mate, than we were last season. There's no doubt about that. We can gloss it over, we can paper over the cracks as much as we want. So for a few days ago, everyone was looking rosy in the garden, and I woke up today with a bit of trepidation, mate. I'm sort of thinking, geez, oh man, we could be in a wee bit of a hole here if we're not getting these players in. So let's talk about incomings, mate. The Polish lad, Boguts, Engels, Jota. Players have been linked again today. Where do we need to bring players in? And what are you thinking about these guys that have been linked today as well?
I'll say what you're saying. I've only seen the Polish playing that through the YouTube this afternoon. They're basically doing that with a lot of the players now. You used to get linked with players you knew about. I'm not saying they're a bad player or a good player. But the players now you're getting linked with, you're having a wee peek on YouTube, aren't you? To see what they're like. As Ross said, you've all said that. Well, he looks good, but you just don't know with YouTube. You can put all the best bits together, any player. So going on that, he looks cracking, looks a good player, but I just don't know what we're getting, really, do we? I don't think. I mean, the other hand with Matt O'Reilly, the way I feel all with the SPL now, the top players, but you're 2 seasons out them up here, maybe 3 a push. I think top players up in the SPL. It's all right, we've got the Rangers again in the Champions League. Is that enough to keep them? Get up to Dingwalls and that? I don't know. I mean, it's a hard one. It's a bit, what can I say? I don't really know much to say much about the boys coming in. The ones we're linked to. Just hopefully something's done, Scott, in the next few days. It's terrible now.
Are you thinking along the lines of left back, left centre half, these sort of things? Do we need these boys in the door, or would you be happy if we just sort of went as is with what we've got?
Well, obviously I want all the players to stay. Back with the O'Reilly's going to go, so cool and that. He can't go. And Paddy says, CCV goes, you can forget about a lot. I mean, that guy holds a defensive altogether. He's a massive. And I'm looking at him thinking, can he go another year here? Well, hopefully he will. Then next year, I think we'll struggle to keep him. Because I just think we'll struggle next year with him. I just hopefully he stays this year. So you know what I mean?
We cannot lose big Carter Vickers for sure. Oh. So, gentlemen, that was brilliant. Covering the transfers there, ins and outs. We'll just wait and see for the domino effect of the Matt O'Reilly sort of money coming in. Once that comes in, then I'm sure we will see some things happen. So let's move on from the transfers. Something else came out of the club today. Like I said, I'd prepped the whole podcast yesterday, and Celtic decided to release a third kit. Andrew, what are you thinking of that, my good man?
I don't think the pictures are up too much. What they're trying to say is they're trying to say it's a tribute to the Celtic fans in Old Jungle and all this carry on, and obviously that's why they've got them kind of dressed up as if they're just supporters going to the game, because they're wondering why is Palmer got a white top on under that, and then it's Patty's got a pink top under his, and he's got a trackie under his.
Nobody's got a bottle of Buckfast, Andy. It can't be the fans going to the game.
I know, but talking about the tap, I love it. I love it, and I'm getting one. In fact, I might even get two, because I think it's a brilliant tap, mate. It's just, I love it. It's one of probably my most likeable taps in quite a few years. I like that kind of colour anyway. I wear a lot of hats that colour and stuff like that. I do like that kind of stuff, but that tap's just superb, and it's a wee fly kind of nudge in it. You know, do you get what kind of outfit do you get with it? You know, is it shorts or is it a pair of cami trousers or something on it? You know, and it's I like it. I'm definitely getting it. Definitely.
So Paddy, Andy is in. He is buying that kit. What about yourself, mate? What are you thinking of?
Same here. I'll just a uniform so simple in its style, boys. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good. It's you just wonder who comes up with them and who actually designs them, and so it's hard because it's now, you know, in the olden days a kit would have done you two or three seasons. Now it's 3-4 kits every season. So no, I actually like it. So I have mine pre-ordered and all. I was actually sitting in the car at work this morning, ready to go into the building, waiting for other people to arrive, and I got the email, so I just literally pre-ordered it while I was sitting waiting to go into work. So no, I like it. I think it'll be a popular one. I think it'll be a big seller.
Aye, I'm liking it as well. So, Jerry, are we getting a full house here? I know you like your full taps. You were saying you've got a load up the loft there. What do you think?
I think it's like every strip. You look at it at 40 and you go, woof, but I think every strip grows on you. They're all crackers. What I would say is, you get the back door, you're lucky to see it on the washing line with the camouflage. No, so you know. Lucky to find out there, wouldn't you?
The local junkies all over finding that one in the washing lines, will they?
Oh no, that's just but it's every strip, they all grow on you, they're all cracking strips.
Absolutely brilliant. So another thing that sort of came out yesterday, which was quite sad to see for me, gentlemen, was our former manager and player Neil Lennon was actually apparently sacked by Rapid Bucharest and replaced within 15 minutes. So a statement for Rapid Bucharest was very short and sweet. Today, Neil Lennon and FC Rapid decided to go their separate ways. We thank Neil and his staff for their commitment and professionalism, and we wish them continued success. Andy, the man just can't catch a break, can he? He's he unfortunately lost his mother very recently as well. So, Neil, we know you're watching, sir, and we would like to give you our condolences from everybody at the Four Leaf Clover podcast for the loss of your mother. The guy just, it's a shame for him. You know, he done a good job in Cyprus as well. Had that great game at Old Trafford with him. And Andy, the guy just can't catch a break, can he?
No, it's a tough time for him. To be honest with you, I was a bit surprised when he took that job. As it so happens, he's no straight for the start. He's been kind of up against it with him, you know, different things that they've not been happy with. But I just didn't get it. I just didn't think it was the right thing for him. I thought when the Hibs job became available, I thought that was perfect for him to get back to. I've got to be honest with you. I thought
Hibs Aberdeen,
I think either of the two clubs would have been a good shout for him. You know, he's obviously based in Scotland. They wouldn't be too far away from where he's managing. I think obviously going there, it's a good wee bit away. It's a different culture and stuff like that, and just something he's not kind of used to. And then obviously other stuff going on in his personal life as well, which is, when you talk about having a bad time, it's not been great recently. So it's sad to see that for a guy. It's seen as a Celtic legend, both as a player and a manager. Sad to see that. Aye,
without a shadow of a doubt. And Paddy, he's from over your neck of the woods. He's a Lurgan man, and it's tough time after tough time for the guy. You know, his personal life, his football life, all the stuff with the sectarianism that happened over there, and the bullets getting sent to him in the post, and the stuff with his boy now is happening as well. The guy just can't catch a break, can he, mate?
No, your heart goes out to him, and again, just on behalf of the rest of the guys, just the condolences to the Neil and the extended Lennon family. We kind of heard recently, we've been hearing a few things, you know, but it was actually his dad. We heard his dad hadn't been well. And then the news broke about his mum, and there's so many people in that Lurgan area. Like his mum was a very well known lady in that area, and like you've seen the story Neil said himself when he used to send home money when he was making good money. He used to send money home, and his mum used to put money in an envelope and go out at night and put it in the doors of people who she thought could use a pound or two. So just very sad, and a rough couple of weeks for him again. But you know what? The Lenny will bounce back. Lenny will bounce back. You know, he's that kind of character. Like no matter what's been thrown at him, you know, down through the years, he's always faced it head on. And Lenny will 100% bounce back. But it's definitely been a rough few weeks for him. And you know, just to say, just to pass our condolences to the Lennon family, and I hope everything's okay with his dad.
Aye, Jerry. You know, I spoke about it there, the sectarianism side of thing. He's had a lot to deal with all through his whole football career and his life in general, really. You know, the bullets, the guys that sent the bullets were for your neck of the woods, mate. I think one was for Mattoon and Colwynnon and places like that, you know. So absolutely ridiculous, the stuff that's happened to him over the years. You know, would you like to say a few words about him as well, about his family, his mum, and you know, we know he'll bounce back. We know he'll bounce back, but the guy just can't catch a break, mate.
Just gone for sad time from the now into from his family. God bless him, God bless him. A wee man. Listen, I'll never say a bad word about Neil Lennon. He done well for Celtic. He put his heart into everything. Just like I've watched him lately, I don't think he's got that fire in the same belly and who's a manager. I think he's missed Big Malby maybe beside him. Not been the same since him. I'll never say a bad word about him. Hopefully everything's good for him. But he done well with Celtic. Last season of COVID, everything went wrong. Dubai, everything just went wrong for him that season. But apart from that season, the wee man done as well. So hopefully things will be up for him soon.
Aye, no, I completely agree with Jerry. And there's a guy on Twitter that everybody seems to think is Neil Lennon. He's came out and denied it. Yeah. I'll put it up here. This guy here, if you check him out, the Siamese boy, he's always got everything spot on about Neil Lennon. So everybody seems to think it is him. Yeah. And he's put here, Neil Lennon in Romania. The facts, it was a joint decision with Neil and Rapid to part company, mainly due to family reasons that we've just touched on there, gentlemen. So 1 defeat in 6 matches in charge. His 2 best players were sold to Sparta Prague, an investment promised, not delivered by Rapid. So Andy, just touching on that, the same sort of thing happened to him at Celtic as well, didn't it? Remember when he was losing your Hoopers, your Fraser Forsters, your Wanyamas? All these guys were getting sold from underneath his nose, you know, and he wasn't getting the quality in the door. So maybe as Jerry touched on there, that was something that, you know, when that season that we had, the COVID season, we never kicked on and brought in quality that season. It was difficult to bring in players. He has mentioned that as well. But just touching on that statement there from Siamese boy, who, like I said, everybody seems to think is Neil Lennon.
I think that is Neil Lennon. I've watched quite a few of his tweets and stuff like that, and he always gets called out on it, but never replies to it. Never goes down that road. But I think it might be him. You know, he's got 6 games at that club, and what kind of time is that to really make an impression on it? I think it was 1 defeat and 5 draws or something like that. You know, obviously, was it draws or?
No, the game he beat was down to 10 men as well. So he was. Aye, 1 defeat.
Aye. I think, you know, I've seen a few comments saying get him in and get him in charge of the B team, or, you know, can I get him into that academy kind of setup, which I think would be a great idea. I've got to be honest with you, because, you know, we know how what his feelings are for Celtic and his connections with the club, and I think probably that's part of his problem when he does become to when he does go to become a manager elsewhere, he's so ingrained in Celtic that it's just not the same for him, you know. And I think he done a good job with Celtic as a manager, and as a player as well. The stuff he went through as a Celtic player was absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I think a lot of people forget about that, you know, when the things he's went through. Things that weren't spoke about when he wasn't playing for Celtic, and then all of a sudden he's a Celtic player and things become an issue then, didn't it, you know? And absolutely disgusting, the threats that were made and attacks on him. Let's not forget that, you know, he's doing his job. He's getting attacked on the touchline or that. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. But I'd like to see him brought back into. I think that's a good idea. If we could maybe get into the academy side of it, you know, and great influence on young boys. He's been through it all and done it all.
Aye, Paddy, that's a brilliant shout there for Andy. You think Celtic should put an arm on his shoulder at this point in his life, welcome him back and give him some sort of role at the club? Would you be happy to see Neil Lennon back at Celtic in some sort of capacity?
You know what, Scotty? I still, you know, I loved him. Like, Lennon was a brilliant player, brilliant manager. The only thing I think he sort of besmirched his record for me personally. I just would have liked to have seen him holding his hands up and walk away a bit earlier than he did. Like when we were knocked out of Europe, you know, when he came out and basically threw the players under the bus. Yeah, I think that's the time, you know. And I don't think there was the COVID season was a disaster, and I don't know that it would make an awful lot of difference. But I just felt if he had stepped aside and let somebody else maybe come in when there was only 3 or 4 points in the league, you know, it might have made a difference. I don't know. It may or may not have, but that still doesn't take away from the fact of what he has contributed both as a player and as a manager. And I certainly know, like that. This is the thing: the more Celtic-minded people you can have around you, the better. Again, as I say, I don't know what he's even thinking at the minute. We don't know. I would say probably football is probably the last thing in his mind at the moment. He'd probably take a wee bit of time away now to probably regather his thoughts and stuff like that, you know. But what he came through was, you know, a lot of people do, like Northern Ireland. Neil Lennon was one of the most popular players in that Northern Ireland squad when he was playing for Leicester. He was a big favourite at Windsor Park, even though everybody knew he was a Lurgan lad and all the rest of it. But he was a really, really popular player for Northern Ireland, and that just literally just overnight moved to Celtic, and that was just the beginning of the end. And even the incident itself, where, you know, I still maintain Sammy McElroy was the Northern Ireland manager at the time, and when that threat came in that afternoon, you know, instead of them saying, "Listen, if there's one player can't play, well then the whole team doesn't play," you know, I don't think they handled it particularly well either. You know, to basically just say, right, we need to get him out of here, and basically take him away. And what he went through that evening was horrendous. He had to be taken to a safe house, and all the rest of it, you know. But I just felt he was very, very badly let down by the IFA at that time, because what should have happened was their chance to send a message that this kind of stuff, this terrorism site, won't be tolerated. So if Neil Lennon's not safe on the park tonight, none of us are safe, so there'll be no game. You know, and they would only have had to have done that once. Yeah. But, you know, for them still to deal with the situation and go ahead and play the game, at the same time Neil Lennon was in some house away from his family, under police guard, I just thought was ridiculous. He was really, really badly let down at that stage, you know. But that's the one thing, as I say, maybe not a lot of people know that he was a very popular player for Northern Ireland whenever he was with Leicester, but the Celtic move was just a flip of a switch.
Aye, disgusting stuff that happened to him when you look back at it.
Yeah, Scotty, just a wee side, mate. I've Parkhead boy, I've banned you by mistake, so I'm sorry about that, but I will sort it out. I've just clicked the wrong thing, mate. So if you're still watching, I'll sort it out and get you unbanned. I'm really sorry about this, mate.
So, Jerry, Andy and Paddy, we mentioned Andy came out with a cracker there, you know, maybe giving Neil Lennon a role back at Celtic. He's still got a lot of love there, you know. He's got a lot of friends, obviously. Peter Lawwell and Brendan Rodgers think very, very highly of him still. So, I mean, is that something that you could maybe see happening in the future? Maybe not just now, let him have his break and stuff like that. Coming back to Celtic in some sort of capacity?
Well, it'd be good to see him, but would Neil want to do that? Neil's obviously got confidence in his own ability to still a manager. I know a lot of clubs now are going down the young managers now with PowerPoints and all this, where Neil's maybe seen as an old dinosaur now. That's what a lot of clubs see it now, is you get to a certain age and you get to drag on to the kind of younger ones with ideas, but you see that happen with younger ones. Sometimes Neil's a wee bit more old style, isn't he? Where I like Neil Lennon as a manager, but I don't know, maybe Neil wouldn't want to go back as maybe he would answer that himself. But it'd be a good move. I would love him about the club. As you say, his influence there would be great. But I don't know if he feels he's got more confidence in his own ability there. No, to be another manager again. As Andy said, the Hibs one, I thought it'd been ideal to get back to Hibs. He done a great job. At Hibs. He done no bad at Hibs.
We'll get him back in some capacity, I'm sure, in the future. So, gentlemen, 2 more things to have a chat about tonight. And Andy, the next segment we're going to move on with is the future plans for this podcast. Do you want to take it away, or do you want me to fire in with that one? Are you happy to talk about what we're going to be bringing to the podcast in the future?
Aye, batter in, Scotty.
Right, so one of the things we've got to do, ladies and gentlemen, next month is we're going to make September Tommy Burns month on this podcast. Now, for those who don't know and who have just joined us, the man in the bottom left-hand corner there, Jerry McMillan, was a YTS at Kilmarnock back in the day under Tommy Burns. So he has some stories, and we sort of got together and had a wee think about this, and I've got a few contacts, Jerry's got a few contacts, and so is the rest of the lads. And we thought, would it not be brilliant just to have a full month of Tommy Burns stories, because you just can't get enough of them. I love hearing them. I was unfortunate never to meet the man. It's one human being that I wish I'd met in my life, and I never got the opportunity to do it. I always said that he's the one person that I never got to meet that I would have loved to have met. It would have been Tommy Burns. So we've got loads of guests lined up that are going to come on, and Jerry's going to be one of them, actually, who's going to share his stories about when he was at Kilmarnock with Tommy. We're not going to reveal to you just now who we've got on board, but I can assure you that now you're going to be blown away by some of the guests that we've got coming on here to talk about Tommy Burns. So that's one of the things that we're going to be bringing to the podcast very, very soon. So that'll be the first Wednesday of September. We'll start our Tommy Burns month with a massive interview, and we'll be getting a guest on that will completely blow you away, I'm sure. So the next thing we're going to do is we're doing a podcast pop-in. That's what we're going to do as well. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to bring in guests on the show. Now, instead of bringing ex-footballers, people related to the game, people to do with Celtic, instead of bringing them on for a full podcast, because it's very difficult to tie these sort of people down for a full podcast, we're going to bring people on to pop in. We're going to get them on a podcast. We're going to get them on for 10, 15 minutes. So that's another thing that we're going to be bringing to the podcast as well. So loads of little plans that we've got in the background, but that's 2 of the things that we're going to be bringing in. And certainly the Tommy Burns month next month is going to be huge. So look forward to that. Andy, anything else you can think of that we've spoke about and behind the scenes that we're looking to bring in?
No, mate, just really looking forward to this, especially the Tommy Burns thing. I think everybody loves Tommy Burns. Never heard a bad word said about him. Even the divide in the city, he kind of bridged that divide. And we've seen that in his funeral with Walter Smith and Alan McCoist carrying his coffin. So that was good to see a man who came from a mixed family himself, but obviously his faith was very important to him. His family and as the documentary went, faith, family, and football. It's that's the things that were important to him. And I think every Celtic fan, whether they got to see him play or Is that a...
Faith only football.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
MD that's never actually got to see him play, you know, obviously there's loads of footage you can see, and then Tommy is Kilmarnock manager, and then eventually going to Celtic, and I think working under difficult circumstances with the bonnet, you know, I think it was a hard man to work with at times, so I kind of felt sorry for him. And Scotty, I've got to say that some of the football that was played under Tommy Burns was just amazing to watch. It was so exciting. I mean, we're going about how Ange ball was good. Listen, any of yours that weren't old enough to be around when Tommy Burns was the manager, it was very, very exciting football. Went through a whole season losing one game and didn't win the league, and it was down to draws. So, you know, it was really exciting. Plus, we had the SFA against us and all, you know, in different circumstances. Referees, particularly at that time, was really bad. So I kind of felt sorry for what happened to Tommy a bit. Listen, he loved Celtic that much and ended up coming back to the club, as obviously dealing with the youths and then the team coach and stuff like that. And we need to get the Lennoxtown named after Tommy Burns, don't we? That is going to be done.
Absolutely.
And there's no reason why it can't be done. So Celtic, get it done. That's the least you can do for that one.
For sure. Paddy, Tommy Burns was ahead of his time. Now, I think a lot of our younger viewers will probably not even know this. This might be a surprise to them. But Brendan Rodgers was actually a young coach under Tommy at Reading when Tommy Burns was the manager there. I've been fortunate enough to interview a few people about Tommy Burns in my previous sort of employment as a writer for certain Celtic magazines, online magazines, fanzines, stuff like that. And they all said he was ahead of his time, you know, and he was. As Andy said, the football he played was unbelievable. But I think the thing that strikes me about Tommy Burns more than anything is just how much of a fantastic human being the guy was, Paddy. I don't think we'll ever see his like again.
No, definitely not. Just an amazing human being. I was lucky enough to have met him a few times when we were younger, you know, coming outside Celtic Park. And Tommy was one of these guys that you know, that stayed to the bitter end. Every fan had got their autograph or their wee photograph or whatever it was they wanted. Just had so much time for the supporters. You know, I think just to touch on what Andy said there, like that was probably the, you know, I know Martin and his team played good stuff too, but they played a different style. But some of the attacking football that we played in Ange's first year was very, very reminiscent of Tommy's team. Look at the players that he brought in. You know, he used his contacts to bring in guys like Van Hooijdonk, Cadet, De Canio, Andy Tom. You know, like, and for us not to win the league that year was just unbelievable. He said himself, you know, that Andy Goram's name will be on his tombstone. Goram denied us so many times in those games, and no, just a wonderful human being. Again, I think the story that the one that I like best is the one about the time the Pope came to Scotland, and he refused to take any special treatment and get pushed to the front or whatever. He just went on the bus out to wherever it was. He went on the bus along with everybody else. Wouldn't allow the fact that he was a famous footballer or whatever to, you know, and that just speaks volumes for the man. I was very fortunate. I think it was just before COVID or maybe just after COVID. Very fortunate to have been able to go and visit his grave. So that was a very emotional moment for me, being able to go and visit his grave. But just again, for me, growing up a young fella, Tommy Burns would be my most favourite ever Celt. When I was a young lad growing up, Tommy was the man. You know, just playing in the midfield, that flame red hair. Maybe not a lot of people don't realise that Tommy had a bit of a discipline problem when he was early days. He was a bit of a hothead, and it looked as though Celtic were maybe going to sort of say, you know what, this guy's a bit of a liability. But he reined it in, and you know, but no, absolutely one of the greats. Absolutely one of the greats. He's up there with the rest of them, and I think as a bare minimum for what he done with the youth team and the young players that he helped to bring through, I think as a bare minimum they could get that. Lennoxtown should definitely be the Tommy Burns Centre. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Definitely, mate. I'm with you. Or even the new Barrafield that's getting built could be a good shout. Maybe they're waiting for that, and maybe that's what they've got rubber stamp for TB to be named after the Barrafield one. So Jerry, out of everybody here, now keep some of your stories for when we're going to interview you for the Tommy Burns thing. But we'll get give one or two at least. But you worked under him, very close quarters. The guys mentioned there. The guys I've interviewed said he was a hothead, and he could get through you. But once it was done, it was done. A lot of guys said that as well. He forgot about it straight away after it happened. So give us one or two wee Tommy Burns stories now, but keep the good ones for when we interview you next month, mate.
Sure.
They're all good.
I'll tell you what, Tommy was he was some man, obviously some man. I love the guy. But I'll tell you, he worked hard as well. See, when all the first team players were away, he was the only one I seen in the afternoons still running up the wee back park himself. And he must have been about 33 then. Something like that. He was still, so he was dedicated that he was dedicated that way. I mean, when he came to Kilmarnock, 1 minute he's training with Paul McStay, then he's training with me. He's trying to get these passes after me, like the same as Paul McStay's. Oh, he says to me, if you don't pass this ball to me, you're in that park. I'll tell you, I was in that park all day, Scott. As soon as you say, that was my hero. He's my hero one night. I'm watching Celtic, and the next week I'm trading him.
Yeah.
It was just so unreal for me. So for me to pass the ball to him, I was that nervous. It was just unbelievable. But and as a Celtic manager, I mean, you're talking about the teams. Simon Donnelly and Jack McNamara on the right-hand side of that team, unbelievable. That team was brilliant. Yeah. I mean, what you go to see is he would have won that league if he won the Baldwin Stadium the first year at Hampden. The second year they changed the point system from 2 points to 3. This was all at the same time. So Tommy would have won a league title if he wasn't fighting with McCann and all. And McCann done brilliant for Celtic as well, but it was just the wrong time for Tommy, but he couldn't say no to the job. Just the wrong time. But I met him up in Seymour Hydro. I was about 16, 17, and I met him up in Seymour Hydro about 20 years later at New Year. He used to go up with his family. And he made you feel as if he was his best pal. And he probably couldn't even remember me. But he still made you feel like his best pal. You know, it was a great guy. Great guy, Scott.
Brilliant, man. I just can't wait for this, gentlemen. I can't wait for next month for all these stories and the people we've got lined up. Like I said, viewers, they're going to blow you away, man, these stories. We've even got an international football manager coming on as well. That's how highly thought of he was. So, last segment we need to chat about, Andy, is the game coming up at the weekend. So, it's St Mirren away. I remember the game last season, but we just blew them away in that first half there. We played some fantastic stuff. I think it was 3-0. Was it 2 or 3-0 after like 10 minutes or something like that? We just absolutely annihilated them. But a tough game on Sunday, mate. Looks like Matt O'Reilly's probably going to be away before then. Hopefully not, but looks like he's going to be away. So changes, do you see Kyogo coming back in, Bernardo in for O'Reilly? How's Sunday looking for you, my man?
No, in my opinion, I don't think Kyogo's going to come back in. I don't know how bad the injury is. I've not actually been keeping an eye on how long he's out or anything like that, but I wouldn't like to see them rushing him back. We've got Ida there, we've got Maida who can fill in that position. In this particular game, I think they're going to go with Ida. I think he's more suited to St Mirren and their defenders. So I think they'll go with Ida here. I think he might bring in Maida in the left and give Forrest a wee rest there. Also get Palmer call on as well. Bernardo, if O'Reilly's away, you'd imagine that Bernardo's going to get slotted in there. Maybe no see as a Awata. Aye, you could fire McGregor a wee bit more further forward and have Awata sitting there. But I think if Bernardo's looking at O'Reilly and he goes and he's like, right, this is my opportunity, I think he could step up to the plate I know he's not a direct replacement and they're different players, but you know, he's a Portugal under-21 captain. He's come up with important goals and he's been pretty good for us. That's why we've signed him on a permanent basis. So I think these players are going to have to get a chance at some point. I would like to, don't get me wrong, I love O'Reilly, but the writing's on the wall in it. So I think we need to face that. But I possibly, what would concern me, and not that I think it's a game you need to make a lot of changes. I think Brendan will still have a very strong team. Guys like home and all that, you go, where are you? Where are you on the pecking order here? Because I worry about these guys that they're just going to drift away into oblivion and kind of not really get a run out at any point. But I think against St Mirren, I think he's got to put out probably his strongest available team, because I thought he would have arrested a few players against Hibs in the cup game, but he didn't really, did he? It was a pretty strong team, so I think that's. Don't get me wrong, I think maybe what happened last year is in the back of his mind with the League Cup, that he didn't want to slip up early on, you know, so maybe that's in his mind. So, but I'd like to see us going as strong as possible, mate. I think, you know, we need to continue as we mean to go on, and that's just roll over the top of teams. But I don't think it's going to be a rollover, but it'll still be a difficult game. But I really fancy us to beat St Mirren.
Aye. I think we'll get the score predictions when we come back around the table. So, Paddy, are you with the ruthless man above you there, our Andy? Maida, 5 goals in 2 games. Andy's dropping them already. He's get out of there. You're kidding. That's not good enough for Andy's team. So, do you see Ida coming in, or would you like to see Kyogo wrapped up in cotton wool again for this game? Where do you see the changes? And if Matt O'Reilly goes, are you putting Awata in, moving Calmac forward, or are you bringing in Bernardo for a straight swap?
Well, I think with regards to Kyogo, I think that's probably what they did last week. I think I don't think it's a particular, I think the shoulder popped out, and in the league game against, I think it was Hibs, wasn't it? They couldn't get the shoulder back in again, and that's why they had to take him off. I don't think it's so much, it's an injury that's bought. So I think they probably just wrapped them in cotton wool last week because it was a cup game and they had plenty of cover with Ida coming in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kyogo back again this week. But as Andy says, it will be a tough game. You know, that game aside, like St Mirren away has been a bit of a tough nut for us this last couple of years. They've always given us a game up there. It's not the easiest of venue. But again, I can't see him making a terrible lot of changes. I can't see him going wholesale again. You know, if Kyogo's fit, I think he plays. Not sure about the Maida one. We'll need to see about that one. The O'Reilly one for me, again, I suppose Bernardo's the obvious choice. If O'Reilly does go and if he has played his last game for Celtic, you would think they would have to maybe give Bernardo a wee run there. But again, as I say, you could look at pushing McGregor a bit further forward. I like Awata. I've always liked Awata. I think he's a real steady Eddie. I think he's a steady Eddie, and you know, somebody that sits in front of the back four there. I think he's very calm and collected. So there's plenty of options there for him. Again, the one thing I would say too is I think Big Ida, I think he looked a bit leggy on Sunday. I think he looked a bit leggy, so I think he could probably do with a few minutes in the legs. So he may be thinking that again. And you know, again, if Kyogo's maybe struggling a bit, he might just say, do you know what, we're not taking any risks at this stage of the season. Plus the fact that St Mirren are a big physical side, so it might be horses for courses on Sunday with Big Ida up front. He might decide that maybe his physical presence will be what we need up there. So, but I don't see him going for wholesale changes. I think Kuhn and Forrest at the minute, the way they're playing at the minute, I think you have to ride the wave there with those guys at the minute. They're absolutely on fire. So I would keep things as they are. So you're probably looking at Maida through the middle or Ida through the middle if Kyogo doesn't make it. So, but I don't see wholesale changes for the rest of the team. 3 points is the order of the day.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper, the defence pick themselves. The midfield, if O'Reilly stays, picks itself, and it's that position up front, Jerry. I'm with Paddy actually. I think Ida would maybe need another 20-25 minutes off the bench instead of a start. I think that was shown when he had that chance. Me and Andy spoke about it on the post match. He played in and he could have got there. His timing's not there for me just yet to start a game. So maybe 20-25 minutes coming off the bench. If O'Reilly goes, who are you bringing in, Awata or Bernardo? And what changes do you see happening for the game, mate?
I don't see many changes at all. I think if O'Reilly goes, it'll just be the one change for Bernardo. That's what I think. St Mirren are undefeated in 3 games this year. That's including the 2 cup games at home. That's Stevie Robson. He always gets them working hard. St Mirren, they're a stuffy team at home. St Mirren. Yeah. So the first goal, very important. But what I will say is what I touched on in Sunday, bringing up earlier, was when we're no batting teams of getting that 3rd and 4th goal, they're always getting that wee chance and getting a goal. And if a team gets a late goal against us, we're not getting any goals. We could end up with silly draws. So to me, when we're playing well, we've got to bury these teams, Scott. I like the boy Mark O'Hara plays with St Mirren. He's always impressed me. So he has. Different at Celtic Park, but at St Mirren's Park, tough wee game, but get an early goal, saying that will be all right.
Jerry, O'Hara always scores against us as well.
He's a good big player. He's a good big player. But I like him. Every time I watched him, he's a good player. So he is.
I'm not expecting an easy afternoon. And maybe with Matt O'Reilly leaving, it might put a bit of no disharmony in the team, but the slickness will certainly go with the 3 boys that we have in the middle of the park for sure. It's going to break up the strongest part of your team for me is 3 guys in the midfield, and obviously if we lose one of them, then it's not going to be the same. Gentlemen, I'll finish off the podcast with your prediction for Sunday. I know, Jerry, you spoke about this. You were going to do a wee predictor thing with the pod. So maybe we could start that tonight, gents. So, Andy, I'll come to yourself. Jerry will take note and we'll see how we go as the season goes on. What's your thoughts on the scoreline on Sunday, mate? Who's getting the goals, stuff like
that? I'm going to go 3-0 Celtic. I think Ida will start and I think he'll get a goal or 2. 1 or 2. And I'll go for Kuhn to get the other one. So I'll go 2 goals to Ida, 1 to Kuhn, 3-0 Celtic.
Oh, Paddy?
Well, I see it very, very similar, but I'll go 3-1. I'll go 3-1 Celtic. And I'm going to go for 2 goals for Kyogo and 1 for Maida. The all Japanese scores.
Oh, good man. And there's Alec Baldwin. What you saying, mate? What's
I'm going to go Celtic 2-0. Steady 2-0. I don't know who'll score, so I'll just stick to 2-0. I'll stick to that.
I was going to go 3-1, but since Paddy's picked it, I'm going to go one more. I'm going to go 4-1. I think Maida's going to start again up front. I think Brendan's going to stick with his guns up there. I think Matt O'Reilly will go. I think that's the last we've seen him in a Celtic jersey, unfortunately. And Bernardo will come in. So I'm going to stick with the Japanese boys as well. I'm going to go for 2 for Hatate and 2 for Maida. 4-1 Celtic. I fancy the real Hatate show on Sunday. He's coming on to some game at the minute, and I just hope a lot of teams don't see that and start sniffing about him before this window closes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's us. We've got another hour and a half, a stacked pod there. Lots of topics, lots of stuff going on. Told you about our future plans, so look forward to that. Andy, thank you so much. I know you've been working today, mate. So thank you so much for your input behind the scenes as ever as well. All the TikTok stuff. Paddy, thank you so much for your insight tonight. Absolutely brilliant, sir, from across the sea in Ireland. Brilliant to have you on again. And Jerry, the lookalikes keep coming in, mate. Your input, the Tommy Burns stuff and all the rest of it. Absolutely brilliant, gentlemen. Absolutely brilliant pod tonight. So thank you
love the Hugh Dallas one. The Hugh Dallas one was a belter, man.
Hugh Dallas.
Hugh Dallas.
Jerry will be on VAR on Sunday.
I don't fancy being his stunt, man. You Darlington stunt man. That's a bad one.
Aye,
So, ladies and gentlemen, the next pod will be Sunday. I don't know who will be on. Maybe the Forays will be on, gentlemen, because it's an away game. So we don't know who's on yet, but there'll certainly be two of us on Sunday straight after the game. So join us then. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. And this has been your Four Leaf Clover podcast.
Thank you. Cheers.
Here we go, guys.